In a small coastal town lived a 26-year-old man named Lucas. By day he repaired boats at the pier, by night his mind became an old lighthouse that no one ever turned off. The beam kept spinning, catching broken pieces of the past and shadows of things that hadn't happened yet. He had nearly forgotten how to sleep. His eyes were red, his hands shook, and inside his chest something kept tugging at invisible ropes tied around his heart. One evening a strange boat tied up at the dock, a 70-year-old woman in a plain gray cloak, carrying a basket of fish. People whispered that she had once been a captain of long voyages, sailing the most dangerous waters, and now lived alone on a tiny island 3 hours away by oar. Those who had nowhere else left sometimes rowed out to her. When night fell, Lucas took the oldest boat he had and set off. No moon, only stars, and the weak lantern on the bow. When he finally tied up at her small jetty, the woman was already waiting on the shore. She didn't ask who he was or why he had come. She simply said, "You're here. Good. Help me carry the fire." She led him to an ancient stone hearth on the edge of the cliff. A small but fiercely alive fire burned inside it. Beside the hearth lay an ordinary dry sea sponge, porous and the size of 2 fists. "Take the sponge," she said. "Dip it into the flame and carry the fire to that rock on the far end of the island. The flame must still be alive when the sun rises. Walk slowly, along the path above the drop. If the sponge burns through completely or the fire dies before you reach the stone, everything is lost." Lucas hesitated. The sponge was drier than dust. He took the tongs, carefully lowered it into the fire. The moment it touched the flames, the sponge burst into bright blue fire, beautiful and terrifying. Now he held in his hands a living, breathing ball of light that could vanish at any second. He started walking. The sea wind struck his face, trying to blow the flame out. The rocks were slippery with salt. Every step felt like walking on a blade. He didn't look down at the waves crashing far below, nor ahead to the distant stone. He looked only at the blue fire in his hands, how it danced, how it trembled, how slowly it turned into glowing coals. His entire being shrank to a single thought: don't let it die. Breathe evenly. Hold steady. He lost track of time, an hour, or the whole night. When he finally placed what remained of the sponge on the far stone, the fire still lived, a tiny, stubborn blue tongue of flame. The woman stood beside him. She silently took the tongs from his hands and set them on the ground. "Well," she asked quietly, "did you once think about the girl who left you 3 years ago?" Lucas flinched. No. He hadn't. "Or worry about tomorrow, when you again won't have enough money to pay the workshop debt?" "No again." "There it is," she said. "While you carried that small fire, you were carrying your life. There was no room for yesterday or tomorrow. Only this step. Only this breath." She placed a hand on his shoulder. "The fire is always with you, Lucas. Sometimes you just have to give it all your attention, so it doesn't burn you up, and so you don't let it go out." On the way back, at dawn, Lucas rowed without a single thought for the first time in years. The oars entered the water as evenly as a heartbeat. From that day on, whenever the thoughts began to whirl again, he closed his eyes and remembered the blue flame in his palms. And he returned there, to the only place where it is always quiet. Keep this story in your heart if it touched you. And perhaps one day you'll pass it on.